On the Yanyan Planet, bathed in the soft glow of a twin sun, lived a species unlike any other. The Yanyan. They were beings of pure empathy, their very nervous systems intertwined with the energy veins that pulsed beneath the planet's surface. Imagine a world where your own heartbeat thrums in sync with the land, where the rustle of leaves is a whisper in your soul. This was their reality. They dwelt among the living plains, great expanses of bioluminescent flora that swayed with the planet's breath. And in the shadow of the glass mountains, crystalline peaks that chimed with celestial music. Their connection to the Yanyan Planet was absolute, a perfect, symbiotic harmony. The Anyari understood that life was a cycle, a beautiful, transient dance. Their cities reflected this belief. They weren't built of stone or steel, but woven from the very life force of the planet. These living structures would rise, serve their purpose, and then, when their time was done, dissolve back into the land without a trace. It was a culture of impermanence, a profound acceptance that nothing is meant to last forever. They took nothing from the world that they didn't intend to give back. Their art, their music, their entire existence was a celebration of the present moment, a testament to their bond with the living world around them. Then, the change began. A subtle tremor at first, a discordant note in the planet's song. They called it the drift. The Yanyan Planet, their great living partner, began to falter. For the Yanyari, this wasn't an abstract geological event. It was a visceral, personal agony. They felt the planet's pain as their own overwhelming emotions. The joy of the sun-drenched plains turned to a deep, hollow sorrow. The living plains, once a vibrant chorus of life, fell eerily silent. The glass mountains, those magnificent crystal spires, begun to weep, their surfaces fracturing under an unseen strain, their resonant chimes replaced by a grating, painful screech that echoed in the Yanyari's minds. This planetary crisis sparked a deep and painful conflict within Yanyari society itself. A great divide formed, splitting families and communities. On one side were the pacifists. They argued that the drift was the planet's natural course, a transformation, however agonizing. To interfere, they believed, would be an act of arrogance, a violation of the very harmony they cherished. They preached acceptance, believing that if the planet changed, the Anyari must change with it, or perish. Their philosophy was one of surrender, of letting the great cycle unfold as it must. They saw intervention as a human-like folly, an attempt to control what should be respected. Opposing them were the interventionists. They saw the pacifists' stance not as wisdom, but as a death sentence. How could they stand by and listen to the world they loved scream in pain? Their connection, they argued, was not just for feeling, but for acting. It was a responsibility. To them, harmony wasn't about passive observation. It was about active participation, about nurturing and protecting their shared existence. The debate raged, not with anger and violence, but with a profound, soul-tearing sadness. The schism was as deep as the fractures opening in the planet's crust, a reflection of the chaos tearing their world apart. As the drift worsened and the planet's life force faded to a mere whisper, a coalition of the most resolute interventionists and even some desperate pacifists came together. They saw that debate was a luxury they could no longer afford. They initiated a project of last resort, a plan born of science, spirit, and sheer desperation. The Resonance Project. The theory was audacious. If their individual connections to the planet were failing, perhaps a unified, amplified connection could create a stabilizing wave, a counter-frequency to soothe the planet's core. They began constructing immense crystalline conduits, designed to gather and focus their collective consciousness, turning their shared empathy into a tangible force. This was their final, desperate gamble. Thousands of Yanyari, the bravest and most devoted, volunteered. They gathered at the great conduits, their frail forms silhouetted against a dying sky. They knew the costs. The Resonance Project wasn't about simply lending their energy. It was about giving their entire being. As they connected to the network, they initiated the final act, a complete and irreversible merging of their minds with the planet's energy grid. One by one, their physical bodies dissolved into light, their consciousness flowing into the veins of the Yanyan Planet itself. They became something new, something more. They became the Bound. The sacrifice was immense, But it was not in vain. The planet's convulsions began to subside. The drift slowed, its chaotic energy tamed by the chorus of consciousness, now woven into its core. The bound became the planet's new nervous system, eternal guardians living within the rock and soil. They were no longer individuals, but a single, unified will dedicated to preserving the life of their world. Their consciousness became the silent hum beneath the surface, the faint glow in the deepest caves, a constant, loving presence. They had traded their individuality for the survival of their home. On the surface, the remaining Yanyari faced a scarred and altered world. The vibrant living plains were now muted grasslands, and the glass mountains, Duk Stable, bore the permanent marks of their trauma. But life continued. The survivors, a people forged in the crucible of loss and change, adapted. They learned to live in a world that was no longer a perfect partner, but a wounded one that needed care. They told the stories of the drift, not as a tragedy, but as a lesson. They passed down the legend of the bound, the heroes who became the heart of the world, and in doing so, they discovered a new, deeper truth. They had always believed that harmony meant permanence, a state of unchanging perfection. But the drift taught them that true harmony is not the absence of change, but the resilience to adapt to it. It is the courage to sacrifice, the will to endure, and the wisdom to know that life, in all its forms, is a constant, beautiful struggle. Their connection to the planet remained quieter now, more subtle, a bond of shared memory and mutual survival. The Anyari of the New Age lived on, forever listening to the quiet song of their world, a song of sorrow, of strength, and of unending love. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this journey, please like, subscribe, and follow for more stories from across the cosmos.